The case of Lloyd Preston Brewer is a story of neglectful and reckless behavior that was only made worse with the introduction of firearms. This story entails a night where a group of friends were out drinking in Key West, Florida for the Super Bowl. They went to the Conchtown Liquor and Lounge where everything was going according to plan until 21-year-old Garrett Hughes had to use the restroom and chose to go out back of the building into the parking lot around midnight. He decided to urinate on the opposing building behind the bar, where surveillance footage captured a shirtless Garrett making his way across, away from everyone else. That is when Lloyd Preston Brewer, the building's owner that rented out the location to businesses, was seen stalking Garrett from a distance. Brewer inserted himself into the situation by approaching Garrett when he was urinating, and a verbal argument began. During this quick argument, Lloyd Brewer unholsters his firearm from his waistband and proceeds to enter a shooting stance while pointing his gun towards Garrett. This instance results in a physical altercation, where in an attempt to wrestle the gun away from the random man that approached him, Garrett gets shot in the abdomen and quickly retreated towards his friends. Garrett would then collapse in the middle of the parking lot, with police swiftly called to address the situation. He would get transported to Lower Keys Medical Center, where aid was administered the best they could, but Garrett's injuries needed a better equipped facility, a trauma center in Miami that was minutes away when seconds count. They had planned a medical airlift to the trauma center, but before this plan could be realized, Garrett's injuries became too severe to remedy and led to his death at the Lower Keys Medical Center at 1:29 a.m. on February 13, 2023. Lloyd Brewer was interviewed at the scene by police that documented his reasons for shooting Garrett. He tells police that he saw Garrett urinating on the building and aimed to confront him, wherein Garrett got aggravated and approached him in a manner that made Brewer fear for his life. He details shooting Garrett and claiming to exercise the stand your ground law in Florida. The law details that if an individual is unable to retreat and feels that imminent death or great bodily harm will come their way, have the right to meet such threat with lethal or non-lethal force. This will be the question we will aim to answer, cataloging the events explained by Brewer and erecting the facts as they happened the night of the slaying.
Alright, Preston. Before we start anything, because formality, I'm going to read you your rights, okay? You get your water?
I got water.
I'm going to read your rights and go through this. I'll have you sign it just saying that I read them to you. And
Read your rights?
Yeah. And
I'll just sign it. I know what it says.
And then if you want to, I'll have to read them. It's a formality, and then you understand those rights. Okay. Do me a favor, just read this here. Do you have your glass? Okay.
Cheers.
Yep, there you go. Just read this here for me. The waiver of rights. If you could read it out loud for me.
I have read this statement of my rights, and I understand that my rights are, or what my rights are. I am willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and I know what I'm doing. I promise. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me.
Okay.
It's very simple.
Before the questioning begins, Brewer's rights are read to him, where his response and the attitude with arguably the most important part of the interrogation is calm and casual. He dismisses the need of formal process of the legal system and must feel confident in his reasons for shooting an unarmed man only mere hours ago. With a smile on his face, he requests the reading glasses of Detective Del Val, the lead detective in the investigation and point of view in the interrogation.
Tell me what happened. And start, if you can, just start the night that you were at Contown that night?
Correct.
Okay. Oh, go ahead and let me know. Tell me what you got.
I was there for the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I was with my niece and her boyfriend.
Okay.
They left. I am now single, so I hung out for a little bit longer to see if maybe a potential suitor might show up.
Okay.
Nothing happened. I was ready to go home. I noticed there was a lot of activity going to and from the back door.
Okay.
As we have discussed in the past.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So I went out back to just see what was going on. As you know, I am armed. nature of my business, my property.
All right.
I went out back, and there was not one, this was not a drug dealer, I don't think, just a guy. And he had buddies with him, and there were cars, but he was in between two cars. There were people on either side, and I guess they were all together. I don't know. They hadn't come from inside the bar. I don't know where they came from. And he's pissing in the parking lot and on the building. And I said, man, can't you just go I'll be honest, can't you just go in the fucking bar and piss in the toilet? And we exchanged words. And as it progressed, he became more agitated and approached me. And I said, look, I own this. Stop. He continued to approach me. I said, I'm armed. It appeared as though he was reaching for something.
Lloyd details his reasons for being at the bar that night to detectives. The story is that he was with his niece and her boyfriend for Super Bowl night, and potentially be on the prowl for a new partner, when he saw a lot of activity coming and going of people going out back for an unknown reason. He went to investigate. He calls Garrett and his friends drug dealers, before correcting himself before claiming he confronted Garrett to only suggest to use the restroom inside the business instead of peeing outside. Brewer conveniently leaves out details of the conversation leading to the altercation by saying the conversation progressed further along and eventually climaxed to Garrett becoming agitated and aggressive towards Lloyd. He claims to have given ample warnings towards the unknown man he confronted in the parking lot, then claims Garrett went to reach for something. The security camera footage evidence police will recover later will show the real sequence of events that will blow the case wide open.
The first shot went off this way. The second shot went off up in the air. To the best of my recollection, he was already on top of me. It would happen that fast.
Okay.
There's no doubt I fired a weapon.
Okay.
Because they wouldn't let me wash my hands.
All right. Yeah, we'll do that after.
It happened.
All right.
I immediately, once he was down, did not continue to assault him, set my firearm on the hood of a car, awaiting the arrival of the police. I did not render aid because other people showed up to render aid.
Okay.
And I know he's got a lot of witnesses that are going to say a lot of different things. That's what happened from my perspective.
Okay.
But I can tell you, he was on me so fast that my second shot went in the air.
Okay.
It was that fast. It was on my property. I stood my ground. I feared for my life. Period.
Okay.
Brewer lists out his reasons for shooting Hughes that would cater to the stand your ground law that he hopes to protect him from any consequences. The first one he says is that it was his property. Brewer does own the building the Conchtown Liquor and Lounge is inhabiting, but the second reason, saying he stood his ground, as in reference to the aforementioned law, does not extend to the protection of property. The law also mentions that lethal or non-lethal force should be the last resort to prevent death or seriously bodily harm, which Lloyd had ample space and time to retreat and disengage. His last listed reason is that he feared for his life, which in the CCTV footage recovered by Archaea, it shows Lloyd approaching Garrett and getting into a physical altercation wherein Garrett gets shot, which unravels his defense of fearing for his life when Brewer is the aggressor.
Just so I know, if you can, draw me a little map. You know the property. Draw me a map where it was on the parking lot. So the parking lot's back here, like this. That's the rear parking lot, right? Okay. Let's say this is the door for Conchtown.
Where?
Okay, just draw it right there. Show me. It would say by the trailers or.
No. So there was a car. You know the way the back parking lot is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like this, right?
Okay.
No, not over here. Not. These are the dumpsters.
Right.
Right. Here's that Jeep that's been sitting there forever.
Yes.
It was approximately here. There was a truck parked here. After it happened about here.
Okay.
I laid my firearm there.
Okay. All right. When did you make contact with him?
As I came out,
Uh-huh.
I was walking this direction. It started here.
Okay. And where did it happen? Did the altercation happen like in the parking lot itself, or
In the parking lot itself.
Okay,
Not in the
so,
bar.
no, not in the bar, but I'm saying like, well,
Were you in between the cars?
In between the cars,
closer to
or
this
was that-
building here, or
Right,
the
in
car
between
towards the middle
in
of the
between the
parking
cars.
lot?
okay,
Right here.
all right,
All of that's a matter of fact, there's cameras everywhere. Right?
Okay.
So all of that is a matter of fact.
okay,
And then as he approached me, I identified, I own all of this.
yeah,
It's all my property.
okay,
I identified myself as the owner of the property. I identified myself as being armed. He still approached and appeared as though he was going for something.
okay.
That's,
What did he tell you when you told him about, what?
we were going back, like, who the fuck are you? We were just going back and forth on this thing. And it just, that fast.
Okay. Did he go?
It was not a long drawn out process. It really wasn't. Because if it had been, then his buddies that were here would have, I mean,
Okay.
had they all come in together and it been a fist fight, things might have ended differently. But that dude was agitated already. I mean, you can test me for drugs or whatever. I don't know. I swear, I hope he's okay.
Unbeknownst to Lloyd Brewer, Garrett was pronounced dead 4 hours prior to this moment in the interview. Garrett sustained a single gunshot wound to the abdomen that rapidly became a bigger problem than the local hospital could handle. To Brewer's knowledge, Garrett was properly attended and would only have to worry about attempted manslaughter or aggravated assault, which holds a sentence up to 5 years in prison and $5,000 in fines if found guilty. Back to the interrogation, Brewer brings up the potential scenario where he could have been assaulted by Garrett and his friends if he did not shoot Garrett in self-defense. The tapes recovered reveal that there was no one close to Brewer approximately 10 to 15 feet around him when he chose to engage Garrett. Although, in an adrenaline-filled moment like this, Brewer could have felt more threatened than he actually was, but the evidence itself discredits the idea of a group beatdown against Lloyd Preston Brewer.
I hit him in the abdomen. I don't think I hit him with the second shot because the second shot went in the air. It was that fast.
So when the altercation happened, that you all came together, was there any contact with you on him? Did you grab him? Did he grab you? Was there any hand contact?
Not to my recollection.
Okay,
It happened so fast, but when somebody's coming at you that fast,
I got you.
it doesn't,
I got you.
it doesn't matter.
All right.
Now, if we're going to get into very minute particulars, that's what I'm going to ask for a lawyer.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you the overall scope of what happened. And the reason I asked for you is you understand the dynamics of that establishment.
Yes, I do.
And so you know I'm armed all the time. Nature of my business and what goes on back there. And really all I was doing was walking through here to see what was going on, to give you
Okay.
a call if something was happening.
All right.
That's it.
When you
You've been in contact a lot.
No, we have, and you always tell me people have been doing stuff back there. We got a good
I don't,
relationship.
in all honesty, I don't think they were dealing with anything. I think they were just drunk guys.
Okay.
They're local, I think.
All right.
And I can tell you, one of them's probably going to try to kill him based on
Did they say anything?
the looks. And finally, your officer that did not detain me,
Right.
really, he didn't handcuff me, but we went and sat on my back steps. Because originally I was looking at the scene, and the guy was looking at me like, yeah, I'm going to get even with you. And the officer saw it too, and he said, just come sit over here.
Right.
Just look this direction.
All right. So, just so I get it right, you walked out of here, you were walking, you walked out of Countdown, and you walk in there when you when you engaged
Yep.
in the
He's over
verbal.
there pissing, and he zipped his pants up, and we had words, and he came at me.
Okay.
And, I mean, there's no reason for me to go at a guy that's just pissing other than verbally. Just, really, go to the fucking bar. They got 3 bathrooms.
I got you. No.
So I don't know, beyond that, I didn't know him. He had no reason to have malice for me that I'm aware.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people know me, you know that.
Yeah.
I did not recognize him as someone that I'd run into before.
Okay.
Brewer's motivation to confront Garrett by his own accord was to only inform and suggest to Garrett that he should instead use the establishment's restrooms instead of relieving himself in the parking lot. He also relays to detectives that a lot of people know me, insinuating that he has a reputable place in the community and that his word is trustworthy. This is quite the opposite, as Brewer had a criminal history that involves having methamphetamines and a possession of a firearm, as well as a worrying domestic battery case where Brewer allegedly punched his girlfriend and retrieved the gun in 2021. He also claims that the people Garrett was with eyed him down and felt like they wanted to get even with him for hurting one of their own. This wasn't documented, nor any other disruption between the two parties, so this claim is unsubstantiated.
Alright. And as far as words, you can't remember what he told you or anything like that?
You know, it
Okay.
was all, I hate to say it, but you know, in the heat of battle, in the heat of the moment, words are exchanged. Yes. Can I be verbally abusive? Yes, I can. But did I walk up and strike him to cause him to come at me? No.
Right, okay.
No. Look at my size. I mean, no.
I got you.
And my recollection is the guy was a little bit taller than I am.
Alright. Did he hit you? Did he strike you?
No, he
Or
came
anything?
at me in a threatening manner.
Okay.
And it appeared as though he was reaching for something, but he
Okay.
was coming at me.
Alright.
And-
Did you see what he was, like,
No,
what he was
no,
reaching
no,
at
no.
or anything like that?
I did not.
Okay.
What do you
Alright.
mean by the threatening manner? Like, what could be
No,
threatening?
he was coming at me with
to you,
words
threatening
and,
to you?
yeah, we're gonna have issues. Cause I mean, where he ended up, the best of my recollection, was outside here, okay?
Behind the cars?
Right,
Okay.
outside.
It was
Now,
originally
now,
down
you
here,
tell me if I'm
down to you.
you tell me if I'm incorrect. But, yeah, so he obviously came toward me.
Okay.
Did you find him here, next to the building? No. You found him in the middle of the parking lot, which is where I was. Which means he came to me.
Alright.
When you came out, where were his friends?
There was a friend, okay. I don't know if they were his friends,
Right.
but there were
The other
other people. There were some over here and some over here, but there were cars here and here. That's my recollection. So
The people Garrett was with during the incident were listed in the police report. He was with his older brother, Carson Hughes, as well as two of his friends named Blake and Logan. As mentioned before, they were out enjoying a night out for the Super Bowl when the altercation took place. Brewer can be seen near Garrett's party seconds before he decided to approach. The CCTV footage does not come with audio, but it can be deducted that Garrett's friends and older brother tried to call out to Brewer when he approached Garrett. When the gun was drawn, the group tried their best to assist the situation, but can be seen reacting to the fight and gunshots. After the shots were fired, one person rushed to aid Garrett after being wounded by grappling onto Brewer as Garrett tried to retreat towards the center of the parking lot. It is unknown who the person who got in between the two was, but one can assume this person to be Garrett's older brother. Information to help strengthen this theory is that the other two men captured on the video stayed close and near to each other when the shots began, appealing more to the two younger friends that Garrett brought along. As the man who sprung into action, getting in between danger, appealed to the single older brother that was with Garrett on the night of his murder. Beyond the company that Garrett was with that night, Brewer cannot seem to explain off the threatening manner that caused all of this to go down in the first place, mentioning that the verbal abuse was in play in the heat of the moment. The best answer Brewer could give was that it felt like the two were going to have a problem, which is too ambiguous to use as a justification to take someone's life.
so it was like he was isolated.
So he was by himself, like staying pissing?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, like they're not sitting around watching him piss.
Right.
Was there anybody back here by the back door? Anybody hanging out back there?
I walked out, I don't believe there was at the time. There was immediately afterwards.
Okay.
There were all kind of people everywhere
Alright.
afterwards.
At what point did you draw on him? Was it here?
When he got When I fired, he was about this close. Because I fired on him. It appeared as though he was reaching for something, and he's coming at me. And by the time he got that close, I fired, and he's on top of me.
Okay. Did he fall on you?
He came, yeah.
Or did he, like...
My second shot went in the air.
Okay, so were you,
He was
you
on me.
fell on the ground? Do you remember if you fell on the ground and fell back?
Yeah, he came at me. Yeah, because when I got up, but he wasn't on top of me by the time it all ended. He was on the ground.
Okay. So I'm just trying to.
Do you remember where he was reaching? Like, was he reaching?
It looked like on his side.
Okay.
Which is where I carry a firearm.
Okay.
I mean, there was no reason for this. This was.
Do you remember if you were holding the gun with one hand or with two hands?
Me?
Mm-hmm. Were you able to actually
When
punch out properly?
I don't know. I will tell you what the best of my recollection is.
I'm sure it happened pretty fast.
2, 1.
Okay.
I mean, it was that fast.
The events based on Brewer's recollection tells a story where the unknown man that Lloyd confronted outside in the middle of the night lunged and attacked him before he could properly react. The security footage disproves his recollected scenario to be completely wrong, as Lloyd had Garrett at gunpoint and had enough time to take 3 steps backwards before approaching Garrett, where the physical altercation swiftly begins and ends. He also tells Detective Del Val and Detective Ann that Garrett was 3 feet away from him when he fired his first shot, as he stands up and demonstrates the distance from across the table.
And just to get, so you walking towards him, yeah.
I'm not walking toward him, he's walking toward me.
Okay.
Do you want to show?
Like, I'm trying to get, like, did you fall? You said you got up off the ground?
Yeah, because when he came, my second shot went in the air.
Okay.
It was that fast.
Okay. All right.
And I'm going to maintain stand your ground all day long. I mean, it's my parking lot. He's coming at me. What I hope comes out of this, I understand your job. And I understand friends don't cross that line for your job. I think this is a case for a grand jury.
Oh, that's what we're here. Do you know my job?
Yep. I think this is a case for a grand jury to investigate all of the facts.
This is something that we get all the facts. We get everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We put everything together.
And you know I'm not going
before we
anywhere.
do anything,
I don't want to go to jail tonight, but you know I'm not going anywhere. So you take it to a grand jury.
That's up to the state, Preston. We put everything together. We take it to the state, then they make that decision.
But you know, this wasn't a revenge thing. This wasn't one of the dealers back there. It wasn't like I was hunting somebody.
I got you.
Ain't no way, shape,
The call for a grand jury by Preston Brewer can be for many advantageous reasons that an individual must be privy to before ever introducing the idea. This can tell us a few things about Brewer. He is resourceful and knowledgeable on what laws and procedures could better assist him when accused of a crime. In the case of calling for a grand jury, the following benefits can come from such a request. A grand jury must decide only based on the evidence to reach a conclusion, so in a situation where there is a lack of evidence, they can issue a no bill and cause the entire case to be dismissed entirely. Next, grand juries are typically held in secret, allowing for the reputation to be upheld, resulting in public reputation to receive minimal damage. This would really appeal to Lloyd, as he seems to believe that he has a good reputation and knows a lot of people. Lastly, prosecution on a grand jury case will need to introduce and do the primary pushing of evidence, meaning Lloyd would dodge having to be present or participate in such a matter. The detriments of such a request is as such. The prosecution could create a narrative and swing the vote of a jury much easier. The standard of evidence to move the case forward is lower, causing any reasonable doubt of guilt to continue the case forward.
I got you. You had gone to the bar earlier. What time do you think you got to the bar?
We watched the whole Super Bowl.
The whole Super Bowl? Okay. How many drinks you think you might have had?
Probably 3.
3? Was it drinks or beers? What were you
Beers.
drinking? Beers?
I don't
Okay.
drink liquor.
You just drink beer?
Oh.
Okay. And what time did you get there, you think?
We got the Uber at. You got my phone?
No, they have it, I believe. You got it in there? You got the time that you
Yeah,
got the
we got
Uber?
the Uber.
Okay. We could look
And
at it. So
then-
you had an Uber took you there? So you
Right.
didn't even drive there?
No.
Okay.
So the Uber took us, no, because we've learned if you drink 1 or 2 beers, don't drive because that FHP is
Everywhere right now.
everywhere. No, I mean, we're that responsible. So my niece and
What's your niece's name? I don't think that's on that for now. I'm gonna do the swaps in your hand for the GSR.
I don't deny that I shot a firearm.
Do you remember what hand you shot it with? Right hand?
And as you notice, I didn't run, didn't hide. Set my firearm down as soon as this situation was. Where's the recorder?
Right.
So am I spending the night at Rick Ramsey's?
I don't know. This is what we're doing, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. We're gonna put everything together. Your story, their story.
It's one of me and probably 5 or 6 of them.
And that's fine. It goes to the state. We tell them what we're gonna do, and they'll make the decision of how they want to proceed. If they're gonna take it to grand jury, if they're gonna. Either way, that we just, and you know how we operate. You know me for a long time. I'm not gonna bullshit you.
And you know I'm not running anywhere.
And I know that you got plenty of roots here. So based on what the state says, we'll give them both sides. We'll give them, and they'll make a decision. And you'll know. So right now we're just putting everything together. You coming forward, you talking to us. We'll give them that, and then they'll make the decision of how they want to.
I'm not hiding what happened.
So, no, I understand that. You've always been up front with me with no problem. So we just put everything together, and then we give it to them, and it'll go from there.
A detail of the entire interview that has been brought up throughout is the question of the relationship between Detective DelVal and Lloyd Preston Brewer. The two have mentioned many times how they've known each other for a long time. It is known that Brewer has issued police reports in the past, but the relationship the two have seemed to be more rooted in friendship. But we cannot be sure on the nature of their relationship, nor would it affect the efficacy of the evidence, as DelVal has Detective Ann with him when gathering evidence. After this topic passed, Brewer makes a very strange request.
So here's what I would ask. If you want to hold me, for whatever reason, give me 3 or 4 days. Here's why. I'm a one-man shop. I've got to pay estimated taxes. I'm the only one that can do it.
Okay.
I've got to be at my office. I don't care if you come and sit with me to make sure I don't go anywhere.
Right.
But I've got to be able to do that.
Well,
And that's not just for
I
you.
can't make that decision, and I'm going to tell you, I can't make that decision. That's not on me to make, but it's something that we'll have to talk to the state about. Okay. And like I said, I've always been upfront with you. There's nothing to hide. You know, I have to do my job as far as no matter what it is. But we've got to run everything through the state and through our boss.
Okay, and my lawyer is Don Yates.
Don.
Can I ask you how that fellow's doing?
Right now, he's critical.
Fuck.
The strange request Brewer asked of the police is to allow him 3 or 4 days to get his business prepared for the case he plans on fighting. The non-seriousness of such a request gives us an insight into Brewer's train of thought at this time, not knowing the charges against him would quickly climb up to first-degree murder. Although Brewer is oblivious to Garrett's death, the request itself seems far-fetched, even if he isn't charged with anything at this time. He then asks the state of the young man he shot hours ago, with Delval responding by saying Garrett was critical. The reality is that Garrett has been dead a little over 4 hours. The news of Garrett's death must have not reached the involved parties for Delval to not mention so, or he does not want Preston to stop talking from the news of the man he shot being deceased. The interrogation itself will now turn as evidence gathering. But afterwards, both police and Brewer will become confrontational over details and requests that changes the feel of the interrogation altogether.
Alright. She's gonna get a camera, we'll take some pictures of you. Would you consent to getting some buccal swabs from you for DNA?
No.
Okay.
You already have my DNA, I think. Why do you need my DNA?
Because when we do cases, we get DNA for everything. We just match up DNA in case we need it later on for the case. We have it. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. If anything, if we do need it, we'll do the first one and get it. It's not a big deal at all. I ask in case the person wants to do it and get it done with, but if not, it's just, if we have to get it, we'll just do paperwork.
I mean, there was no blood, there was no fisticuffs. I mean,
I don't know if they did photos.
I don't think they did. We're not gonna do the buccal swabs, which is fine.
Got those from
Okay.
you.
No, perfect. Just take a picture of that. Both.
oh, you do have those, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't have my phone back yet, or my meds.
As soon as they get the meds, we'll get them. Now they gotta marinate a little bit. I don't see nothing on this one.
I always have to do it in the white background.
So I didn't shoot it then.
Yeah, sometimes it'll take a little bit of time.
I wish they were like the other ones where they put it on a white background so you don't have to.
We've got the other ones too. The ones that Bradley had.
Yeah.
Let me go see if he has the other ones too. Be right back.
Detective Delval will soon leave the interrogation room to retrieve a different gun residue test kit since the current one is not working. While leaving, he quickly remembers that the video and audio of the interrogation is on his body cam, so he returns the camera to the interrogation room. Detective Van is in the room taking photos of Brewer's person for evidence.
Certain codes that aren't the most common, but they're important, right? So, like,
I gave you a key back, right?
what's that?
I gave you handcuff keys.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. Yeah, you know it. I like the mustache. Malik, do me a favor. Give that to Tiffany.
Yeah, absolutely. Just knock on the door and just end it.
Nope, wait. They made me go pee with my handcuffs on.
Okay. And we're gonna put our arms out like this morning. You see those hands nice and flat. I'm a short gal, so if you don't mind, there you go.
Done?
Thank you, sir. And again, if you don't mind lifting up your shirt for me so I can see your belt. Perfect. And arms by your side. I am gonna have to take your shirt from you. You got some blood here in the back too. So I'm just gonna take that. I doubt you're gonna want to keep that anyway.
I will ask one more time. I'm gonna need those antibiotics. What is it? See this?
What did you do?
I got bursitis,
Okay.
and it brings me cellulitis, and I'm on this heavy regimen of antibiotics. I'm supposed to take them at 3 a.m.
Okay.
I'm gonna need another bottle of water too, if you find one.
Yes.
I gotta take lots of water with it.
Nope, that I can get you immediately. The meds, I think Marcus just went to go ask about that as well. So next one, you get items.
With most of the due process out the way, there will be a push to retrieve a piece of evidence that would be the key to determine what happened tonight. A push for the surveillance footage of the parking lot.
Does anybody else have access to the surveillance system other than yourself? For the parking lot?
No, I need to get in there and look at it.
Are you the only one that has the capability to do that, or is there somebody else that has access?
There is somebody else, but I don't give you permission yet.
You understand that we're going to need to be able to see that? You understand we're going to need to be able to see the video?
Unfortunately, that's one of the few spots that isn't clear. Because I don't have a camera sitting right here.
Right.
Of course, there's no audio. It's illegal to audio.
The tension surrounding the question that Detective Van asks can be sensed through the screen. Brewer does not want police to take a look at the surveillance footage before he can get a peek himself. The reason for this can be a multitude of things, but one that makes the most sense is that he wants to strengthen his narrative he told detectives, by modifying his story to better fit the footage captured that night. A more simplified answer is that he does not want police to have incriminating evidence so soon, hoping that his story is good enough for the time being. He first claims he's the only one that has access to the cameras when initially asked, but then backtracks to say that someone else has access as well. We could assume that the other person who had access to the cameras could be the Conchtown bar owner, or potentially someone who helped him set up the cameras in the first place. He also points out how, in theory, the spot where the altercation took place will not have a clear sightline from any cameras. This is untrue, as police recovered two different camera angles that depict Brewer and Garrett's movements clearly enough to tell what happened between the two. The difficult questions are being asked now, as they manage to get Brewer's story and sequence of events. The only thing else is to see how much evidence and information Brewer is willing to give up himself.
So what's the over/under on me going to Rick Ramsey's hotel tonight?
Rick Ramsey's hotel. That's a good way of putting it. We're still working out all the details, so we're not making that decision right this second.
Preston has mentioned Rick Ramsey's hotel throughout the interrogation, a substituted name for the Monroe County Jail. The reason that he keeps calling it that is because the sheriff of Monroe County is named Rick Ramsey, which Sheriff Rick Ramsey has a good reputation in his community based on an internet search, participating in local events and receiving multiple commendations. It is possible that Brewer has met the sheriff, but it is most unlikely.
I would like to get in touch with my lawyer. I've asked 3 times and was denied the ability.
When did you ask for that?
When I was detained at the scene
Okay.
and when I was downstairs.
Okay. Who is your attorney?
Don Yates. I'm not saying I refuse to cooperate. I'm saying I would like to confer with counsel.
Sure. Okay. I am not sure where your phone is, but
I don't know.
The gun residue test failing to identify any gunpowder on Brewer's hands is really strange, but not impossible as pointed out by detectives. It could be that the kit itself is less effective than the other brands, or a potential scenario where Lloyd indeed did try to remove evidence with washing his hands after going to the restroom. It is ridiculous to say, understandably, as many witnesses and evidence points to Brewer at minimum shooting a gun tonight, but there are some external factors that could have led to the negative result. The most plausible being environmental contamination, as Preston and Garrett fell on the ground when the incident happened, and the kid failing adds some mystery on how calculated Brewer was after he shot Garrett, and if he could have potentially be tampering with evidence way before the police arrived.
Give me a minute. Alright, we got medications, we're gonna transfer you, we're gonna take you to the hospital.
Why to the hospital?
Well, a couple of things. On these investigations, one of the things we gotta do is a blood draw. We're gonna transport you to the hospital. They're gonna do a blood draw, we got a warrant for a blood draw. Okay? When you get there, we're gonna give the medication so the doctor could give you prescribed medication. Okay, because we're not doctors and we don't wanna give you.
But you know what I'm
something-
taking.
Huh?
You know what I'm taking.
You wanna give me a list of them?
I don't.
Clemacine or it's for antibody?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a powerful antibody.
yeah, oh yeah.
I know, yeah, I took that a few weeks ago. Had to stop taking them. Before we go, just one question I wanna ask you, because once we get everything and go to the state. When the guy came, you said the guy came towards you, do you remember anything or any type of threatening things that he told you or anything that he made, actions? I know you said he grabbed you something.
He was coming to aggressively get me. He was
Okay.
taller than I was.
Alright, did he show anything, like, did you remember anything, hand maneuvers, hand things, do you remember anything?
It was just that fast, no.
Okay, alright. Alright, so I think they covered it all, we can take you out there, get that done, and we gotta do what we gotta do. Also,
But I've asked again to speak to my attorney.
okay, so that's fine, then I won't ask you anything else, if you wanna talk to your attorney.
Well, for advice.
Okay, that's fine, if that's what, and that's fine, that's totally your right to do it. We're gonna go ahead and get you to the hospital, and once you get done with what you gotta do, we'll get you can give them a call.
As the interrogation is wrapping up, we can review what we have learned so far. The story on Brewer's side is that Garrett was confronted in a casual manner by him to advise him to use the facilities inside the bar instead of relieving himself outside. That's when a quick verbal exchange was had, where Garrett becomes very agitated and aggressive in response. Brewer then warned the approaching man that he was the owner and that he should calm down. That's when Garrett approached and began to reach for something that Brewer can't describe, and in a split second, Garrett closed the gap and was on his way to bring Lloyd to the ground, where he felt that he could have been seriously harmed or worse. But before this could transpire, Brewer unholsters his weapon and fired 2 rounds, hitting Garrett in the abdomen as the threat was seemingly neutralized. The real sequence of events has Brewer instead unholster and point his weapon at Garrett, with ample time and distance to retreat, but instead chose to get into a scuffle with Garrett, where Brewer most likely felt justified to shoot at that point. Brewer has not been able to give detectives a solid defense onto why Brewer felt the need to discharge his weapon at a situation he potentially placed himself in, where a complete stranger felt so inclined to attack him to this point with no weapon whatsoever.
So we'll get it done. Right now, we're not gonna ask you anything else. We do have a warrant, for the blood, which is
That's
signed by
fine.
a judge, so that'll be done.
Do me a favor, Mr. Burr. Can you sign and date this for me? Just shows that obviously you're the person that drew that picture.
I don't have my glasses on.
You're fine. I can read you. You want the cheaters again?
What is it, now the 11th,
Today's the 13th.
13.
13th?
Thank you. And I will take that.
this could go.
What does the gunshot residue show?
What's that?
Gunshot residue.
That right now is not showing any
It's negative.
on it, yeah. And it could happen. Sometimes these kids will show negative on it. Let me give this to the gentleman. You took pictures of it, right?
I did. Preston, do we looked up again one more time today?
Was that from today? Oh, you sure do. That's great.
That's his belongings. Okay.
That could be when I went down, when he came on top of me.
I'm gonna get a good picture of that one more time, just to show, because you said you fell backwards.
Okay.
Can you,
Yeah,
so do this one more time, we'll have you stand.
So the blood was fine on the shirt. So I may want my shirt back.
We're gonna keep that for now, just because you're wearing it. Go ahead, face forward again. Just like we did last time, yeah, perfect. I'm not gonna go and do all of those photos over, we'll just do,
Let me feel. No.
no bumps,
Now,
scrapes,
so
sore.
so I guess when he came at me, my elbows would hit the ground the hardest, which would explain why it's like the shovel in the air.
You want to put that bag, at least you can carry it. All right, Preston. Just so you know, I'm always up front with you. Everything we do. The hospital had contacted us a little bit ago. I just talked to the detective that was out there, and the kid did pass away. So I just want to let you know that. All right.
Detective Delval finally lets the news out of the fate of the young man he shot just mere hours ago. Brewer, as it stands, shot and killed a complete stranger, and this investigation evolved from a potential aggravated assault charge to felony murder. The reaction from Brewer's face is not visible on the body cam placed on the table, but from his lack of response, one can assume his heart stopped, and is giving a blank stare to what detectives told him. There is a high chance that news of his death reached detectives much earlier, but they withheld information to not skew Lloyd's willingness to comply, as the case got much more serious now more than ever.
Unfortunate thing, but I gotta tell you, I've been on you too long, and there's no need to hold anything back, but we're gonna do the blood draw. They'll give you your medication out there, and then while you're doing that, we're gonna do what we gotta do, and then see what avenue the state wants to take. Okay? All right. They'll take you now. The gentleman that were downstairs will take you out there. Yeah, let them know to.
He's telling me downstairs he has that, and like a random infection, he said one of his own.
Yes.
What's the over-under on this? You're honest with me. What's the over-under?
Everything's gonna be bearing on what the state, they're the ones that know the stand your ground law better than any of us. We'll present it to them and see what they say. Okay, we got their story, your story, you were honest with us with what you said, and we just let them go. It's very, the stand your ground, the state, we've had these cases before where they're the ones that know that, they know that law better than us, okay?
Lloyd has been asking the same question across the interview without getting a straight answer. He desperately wants detectives to tell him how bad the charges against him are, and what could possibly happen to him following the investigation. He asks this to Detective Delval, his supposed friend, and someone who he expects to be straight with him and not push him away. Which, against what he thinks, Delval does not give him the answer he wants, and most likely gives him the truth of how the process goes, with investigations being handled by different people and multiple processes. Lloyd appears to be fed up with the constant deflecting the detectives have to do in these investigations, and seemingly walks away from Detective Delval mid-conversation. It is clear he now realizes that the police aren't his friends in this situation, and no amount of companionship will help him in this case whatsoever. With Lloyd Preston Brewer being escorted away from the interrogation room, Detective Ann makes a suggestion.
Do you want me to call him?
Yeah.
It's discarded. I mean, do we need it?
No?
We don't need his DNA for anything, right?
You know what? Don't worry about it. If we need it, we'll get a warrant.
Good one.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
The case of Lloyd Brewer is still ongoing over 2 years later, with the latest news on the case coming out 2 days before the writing of this video. On February of 2025, the claim of self-defense got denied by the 3rd District Court of Appeals that heard the push from the defense. The hearing was unsuccessful for self-defense, and Brewer's murder trial will proceed and is scheduled for October 6, 2025, in Judge Mark Jones' Key West courtroom, with the pretrial hearing scheduled for September 9th at 9 a.m. this year. The date of Brewer's trial had not been set for more than 2 years, and Brewer has remained in jail ever since the shooting happened. Lloyd Preston Brewer was given a chance to be released on bond, but has not yet done so, as the amount of his bond given by Judge Jones was an astonishing $3 million. Most bond amount postings require 10% of the amount, which would mean Brewer would need to materialize $300,000 to post bail, since March 7th when the bond was granted. The state had originally asked for a jaw-dropping $10 million to be set for his bond, as the state had claimed that Brewer was a flight risk and shouldn't be allowed to be free. If he had posted bond, he would have been on house arrest and would only be allowed to go outside for life-essential purposes, which entails visiting with attorneys, work, church, doctor's appointments, or pre-approved locations by pretrial services, and would not be allowed to have contact with the victim's family. A very important detail following the murder: the location where the slaying happened, the Constown Liquor and Lounge, has since closed due to the decline in patronage ever since the young man was murdered behind the business. This can also be said for Brewer's actual owning of the building, as it was sold for $4 million on October 1st, 2024. Weirdly enough, the new owners is someone who is directly related to the case. The parents of Garrett Hughes now own the commercial building, which is owned by a limited liability company named GDH22, managed by John Hughes and Leslie Tuzolin. Brewer will now face a murder trial over 2 years later, with his fate soon to be decided, and family and friends of Garrett receiving justice after all this time. The research I did into a family's grief was bittersweet. I got to read about how great of a person Garrett was, and how beloved he was by everyone around him, knowing good and well that he was gone. It is painful to have someone so full of promise be taken from this world at such a young age, and we can only hope that his family are healing well from the tragedy. The death of Garrett filled me with many emotions, anger being one of them, with such a senseless and unnecessary reaction to a totally avoidable sequence of events. Brewer will finally face his punishment later this year, and with it, my attention, to finally see this murder case close for good.